channel, I hope you're all well. So in this video we are going to be reviewing the recently released and the forever delayed X-Men and the Dark Phoenix. Now this movie should have been awesome because it's got a stellar cast and all of the preceding films within this new updated X-Men franchise have been awesome. So you know, the first cast film, Days of Future Past especially, even Apocalypse, you know, all these films with the updated X-Men cast have been fantastic, and Dark Phoenix should have been an excellent addition to this, especially when this is the last film that is under the Fox umbrella of the X-Men before they move over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this should have been, you know, the excellent final swan song of the Fox iteration of the X-Men, but unfortunately Dark Phoenix is just a really bad film. I will obviously explain why in this movie review, but I just wanted to start by saying, you know, that I'm overall really disappointed by this movie. So the storyline of this film is a retelling of the Dark Phoenix storyline with Jean Grey that we saw in the overly criticised Last Stand film. And instead this time, Jean Grey is front and centre instead of kind of being a sideline within the whole mutant cure storyline. And I just feel like, okay, it's great that they're focusing on a character, but they have to remember that this is the X-Men, and the X-Men have always been kind of an ensemble group, and that's kind of how they work. They're a family of mutants, they work as a group, as an ensemble piece, and to kind of have one of the X-Men kind of at the front and centre and the rest kind of taking a back seat just really made this film really disjointed. So, you know, some of the X-Men even just felt like extras. Cyclops, for example, like the leader of the X-Men in, you know, the cartoon and in the animation and in the movies, was just kind of relegated to a sideline position, and because of that this movie just didn't really work. You know, it was just a mess because of the whole structure of how the X-Men have been executed in this film. And yeah, like I said, the storyline of this film is just very disjointed. There's random stuff that's happening and it's all very loosely connected together, but it's not cohesively put together, and it's just not very gripping, to be honest with you. You know, the other X-Men movies were fantastic in terms of telling a great storyline. Days of Future Past, absolutely phenomenal. I don't know why in this fourth and final film they've chosen to just chuck away all of the great examples of how to tell a good storyline and just done something that just does not work. Especially, you know, Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, they could have just looked at blueprints that have, you know, evidently worked before and kind of done it in their new X-Men kind of spin. But yeah, purposely trying something different, but it just does not work. You know, the villains in this film are just not posing a threat in a kind of gripping way. I think gripping is just the right word because it's just absolutely not gripping. The villains are there, but they're just, you know, the same recipe that you've seen in other superhero movies in terms of a villain just not really having much substance or kind of having much understanding of why they're doing what they're doing. You can't really connect with the villains, and I feel like because of that it just doesn't really work that well. Credit where credit's due, the action sequences in this film are great, but if they're not substantiated with a great storyline underneath them, then they're just, you know, great set pieces for the sake of being great set pieces. So they don't really necessarily make the storyline any better, but you know, from a visual point of view this movie is quite good. And the other thing I wanted to say is that the trailer for this film completely ruined the storyline of this movie. If you haven't seen the trailer and you are looking to watch Dark Phoenix, then I would highly recommend not to watch the trailer because it completely ruined it. There are a lot of big iconic moments in this film that just got completely ruined because you know that they're coming because of the trailer. The trailer is basically a condensed version of this film, and from a storyline point of view, it completely ruined it. Trailers going forward for superhero movies, I honestly feel need to take advice and a lesson from Avengers Endgame. You can loosely give a little bit of an idea about what's happening, but don't spoil the entire movie. And don't spoil your big moments because they're just not going to be as impressive when you view them in the cinema screen. The casting and the actors in this film are awesome. I'm so glad that all of the main characters are back from the other X-Men movies. So, you know, you've got James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Nicholas Hoult, Jennifer Lawrence, Sophie Turner, and you've also got Jessica Chastain in this movie as well. You know, all of the actors in this movie are really, really cool, but the material that they're given just really lacks depth and substance. And it's just really, really disappointing because, you know, I wanted this movie just to be so good, especially because I am in love with all of the X-Men characters. I love kind of like the family aspect to it, but it just didn't really work. And if anything, it was the opposite because some of the scenes were just really forced. they weren't very natural, and because of that, I think that's, to be honest with you, I think that's the main criticism with this film. It just doesn't really flow very well, and it doesn't kind of feel authentic or true or natural to, you know, what these characters are about. You know, definitely put them in high stakes situations, especially for the fourth and final movie. Have no problem with that, but you know, just the material that they were given just felt really, really forced, unnatural, and just overall just did not work. From a visuals point of view, this movie definitely is awesome. All of the different fight sequences featuring the Dark Phoenix are awesome. The epic train sequence is really, really good. That one in particular actually just felt like it was from a video game, so it was really, really intense. But unfortunately, the visuals didn't make up for the really bad direction in this movie. As a massive fan of X-Men, comic books, superheroes, all of this, I really wanted this movie to be awesome. Kid you not, I just wanted this to be the perfect ending to 20 years of X-Men movies under the Fox franchise. This movie should have been so much better than it was, but unfortunately it wasn't. You know, it's the poorest entry from all of the different Fox X-Men movies, and I am including X-Men Origins Wolverine in that because I actually feel like that movie was better than this one. You know, especially when you compare it to Marvel Cinematic Universe movies even. You know, this movie should have been so much better, and it could have been so much better. Even if they did like a bit of a Days of Future Past twist to it and brought like the, you know, first generation characters back, that could have like fixed some of the issues in this film. But the pacing, the storytelling, and the direction in this movie just unfortunately made it the worst entry within the X-Men franchise. Overall, I'm sure it will come as no surprise that I was really disappointed in this film. Whilst it does have good visuals and good actors in it, the portrayal of their characters was just not that great. The storytelling was really, really bad, and the overall direction in this film just did not work with the X-Men characters. I was hoping for so much more from the final X-Men movie under the Fox umbrella, especially when the Fox umbrella movies have been really, really good thus far. Let's just hope when they move over to Marvel that they'll do a much better job with them, because this was really just not working for me. And because of those reasons, I am going to give X-Men and the Dark Phoenix a 3 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.